Hello students, once again a very warm welcome to Meso Study Sessions. So in today's class we will be talking about some questions from the chapter Why Do We Fall Ill? So let's start the session. So the whole session will be having overall 10 questions, out of which the first 3 questions will be of 1 marks. I will try to tell you how to practice such type of question. After that the questions will be of 2 marks, and after that the 3 marks and the 5 marks. So I will tell you how to attempt such type of question. This is just a practice session. Along with this, you have to practice your NCERT questions as well. You have to practice the questions which are given in the center of the book or in the center of the chapter. After each and every topic, the questions are given. So you have to practice that as well. So let's move on to the first questions. First 3 questions are of 1 mark. So question number 1 indicate name any 2 group of microorganisms from which the antibiotics could be extracted. Now, to talk about this particular word, that is antibiotics. If I ask you one question that what is antibiotics, hope my students can give this answer. So antibiotics are what? Antibiotics are chemicals. Biotics are chemicals produced by microorganism which resist the growth of other microorganism. This is called as antibiotics. Now the question states that we have to give the 2 group of microorganisms. So in this you have a ready answer that bacteria and fungi. Bacteria and fungi are those organisms, those microorganisms from which the antibiotics are extracted. So can I ask you one more question? Though it is a question practice round, and even I have right to ask some questions. So if I say, what was the name of first antibiotic that was produced and from where it was extracted? So this you have to revise, we have already discussed in the session. So let's move on to the question number 2. So for that the correct name you have is a penicillium, or called as a penicillin, which is extracted from Penicillium notatum. So question number 2 state, what is the purpose of vaccination? This word vaccination means them providing vaccines. So vaccination is the process. It is the process of injecting heat killed microorganisms. So here these microorganism over here means the pathogen, right? These microorganisms, they are heat killed. That means they will not cause disease. They will not cause any kind of disease. So in this what happens? It is a process of injecting heat killed microorganisms into body of organism, right? So that immune response which will generate can produce memory cells. Very important, right? in this what happens is we have to prepare the body. So how we can prepare the body, we give them vaccines, we give them heat killed microorganisms, attenuated microorganisms are given. So in that case our immune response is generated and the memory cells they are created. So at the time of the actual infection, if actual infection happens again, in that case those organisms they can be killed in a short duration of time, because at the time of the earlier infection, earlier pseudo infection you can say, the memory cells they were generated and they can easily form the antibodies. So that at the time of actual infection, pathogen can be eradicated in shorter duration of time, because the secondary response which will come at the time of actual infection, that will be comparatively faster. So the shorter duration of time, right? So no disease can occur. Right. So it is a process of injecting heat killed, not caused disease microorganism into the body of the organism, so that the immune system which will generate can produce memory cells, so that at the time of the actual infection the pathogen can be eradicated in a shorter duration of time. That means in the shorter duration of time, that means now what will happen? Again the immune response will be generated. So once you remember something, once something is there in your mind, it is very easy to recall it. So it is easy to eradicate it as well. So it is just like that. So vaccination is done. What is the purpose? So that the immune response, the secondary immune response which has to be generated, that can generate at the time of the actual infection, and it can kill the pathogen, it can remove the pathogen within a short duration of time. So this is the purpose of vaccination. So this was a question number 2. Let's move on to the next question, question number 3. So question number 3 is also of 1 mark. Read this question properly. Name any 2 diseases which are caused due to unprotected sexual intercourse. Yes, like question, it means to say that they are asking about the sexually transmitted disease. In the session I have given you regarding the different type of diseases and their pathogens. In the column of the sexually transmitted diseases, we have many examples, but they are asking only 2. So this is just a 1 mark question. So first you can write it as a AIDS. Right? What is the full form of AIDS? That is a acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Right? It spreads by sexual contact. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which is caused by HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. And second, you can take an example of a syphilis. There are various types of the syphilis. One of the most fatal syphilis we have is a neurosyphilis. So these are the 2 diseases which spread from one person to another while having unprotected sexual intercourse. So this is a question number 3. Let's move on to the next question, question number 4. Again, this question number 4 is of 2 marks. So you have to answer accordingly. Now, give 2 examples of each of the following. 4 types of diseases they have given, and we have to explain the answers. 2 examples minimum we have to give. Now, first are the acute diseases and the chronic diseases. What do you mean by acute diseases? Acute diseases are those diseases whose symptoms they last for only a short duration of time. Whereas the chronic diseases are those diseases whose symptoms last for months or the years. Infectious diseases are those diseases which spread from one person to another. whereas the non-infectious diseases are those which doesn't spread from one person to another. So to talk about the examples of these, we have is viral fever, right? Viral fever, or you can take an example of a cough cold, right? A common cold, right? So these are the two examples. They remain for a shorter duration of time, and our immune system work in a so efficient way, they eradicate it within 1 day, within 2 to 3 days. So next you have is a chronic diseases. So chronic diseases are what? These are those diseases whose symptom they last for many time. They last for years, they last for month. In this you can take an example of elephantiasis, and second you can take an example of tuberculosis. Elephantiasis is a type of which disease? It's a type of disease which is caused because of the nematode. So in this case what happens, these body organ, the extremities of the body structure such as a limb, scrotum, they accumulate fluid in them and they remain like this in a swollen position for years. Elephantiasis is also termed as a filariasis, which is caused by one pathogen. The name of that pathogen is Wucheria bancrofti. After that we have is a tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, you know, you all are acquainted with the common problem, that is a TB. We call it as a TB. So the TB is a type of a bacterial disease, a mycobacterium. So in this case what happens is, whenever these infections they occur, they spread because of inhalation process. Whenever the person is there near you, whenever they cough or the sneeze, these pathogens they can easily enter your body and they can cause infection over there. Similarly, we have a many type of the TB. Lung TB is a major problem that we are facing today. Now next, the C part we have is the infectious diseases. Sometimes the infectious diseases are those which spread from one person to another. If I am having those diseases and if you will stay near to me, the chances that you can also get those diseases, which is called as infectious diseases. So the infectious diseases, we have an example of a chicken pox and smallpox. Chicken pox and the smallpox. These are the certain examples. So first, acute disease, for example, your viral fever and the cough and the cold. Chronic diseases, you can take an example of the elephantiasis and tuberculosis. Infectious diseases, you have an example of a chicken pox and the smallpox, right? Note the sound, I'll be back. So students, hope you have noted down this about these three types. One was left, that was a non-infectious which doesn't spread from one person to another. There are a list of those diseases which doesn't spread from one person to another. Some are those diseases which spread because of the mineral deficiency, etc. Some are those diseases which are associated with the hormones, such as if you talk about whenever there is a deficiency of the iodine, the chances that the goiter may develop. So in this you can take an example of a goiter. Likewise, we have n number of example in this case, and second example you can take it as diabetes, normal hormone. So diabetes is that problem which spread because of the decrease in the insulin hormone in the blood. What is the function of insulin? Insulin decreases the level of glucose in blood. It maintains a level of glucose in the blood. Whenever this insulin level drops, increase in the glucose concentration that can be seen. So everything in the body that has to be maintained, and God has given a very good example for the control process, that is we have glands present with us. Their secretion help in maintaining our so many things. For example, at the time of the fears also the hormones are secreted. For the reproduction also the various hormones they are secreted which help in the maturation of those structures. Similarly, we have these hormones etc., insulin, glucagon, which help in controlling the metabolic rate. Overall concentration has to be maintained, and how they are maintained? Because we have a hormones for that. So this was the question number 4. In each of these you have to give 2 examples. Each part maybe will be having of a half marks, right? Let's move on to the next question. Next question, yes, this is the question number 5. Which bacterium causes peptic ulcer, right? In this you have a ready answer, you have a one line answer only, that is the bacterium which causes this peptic ulcer is Helicobacter pylori. Now, because it's a scientific name, so you have to underline it. Who discovered the above pathogen for the first time? This was discovered by the Marshall and Warren. Marshall and Warren. Right? So for this, that is a question number 5. The correct answer you have is a Marshall and Warren. Right? For A part, the Helicobacter pylori. So for the B part, we have is the Marshall and the Warren. Question number 5. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 6. Now, this question number 6, A part indicate what is an endemic disease? A very good question. Endemic disease, epidemic disease. Endemic, okay, I have used this word endemic. Endemic are those group of organisms which remain to a particular place only, which are a resident of a particular place only. So they are called as an endemic species. So here they are asking what is an epidemic disease. So epidemic diseases are those diseases which affect more than one individual at a time. So it's just like a spread of some diseases. Some disease spread like anything, right? They spread like a tree from one person, they spread to another person, and likewise these things are happening. This is called as an epidemic. Now, which organ is affected if a person is suffering from jaundice? We know that at the time of the jaundice, the major organ which is affected is a liver. So in this case, you have an answer is liver. So in the jaundice, the liver is affected. So this was the part 2 of question number 6. Let's move on to the next question, question number 7. So hope you have noted down this. Now, differentiate between acute diseases and chronic diseases. Let's have a look. Acute diseases are those diseases which have a symptom time or which show the symptom only a few period of time. So, symptoms for short period of time. Whereas in case of the chronic disease, the symptoms they last for years. Right. So in this case, what happened? These are those diseases which can easily eradicated. Easily, or you can say cured. Whereas the chronic diseases are those diseases in which these diseases are difficult to cure. Because they remain in the body tissue, they remain in the latent stage. At some time they show the certain kind of symptom and sometimes they do not show these symptoms. So now let's talk about the example of the acute disease. We have discussed in this session only. So acute diseases, you can take an example of a viral fever, Or you can take another example, that is of a cough and cold, a common cold, right? Acute diseases. Now let's talk about the chronic diseases. For example, you can take an example of elephantiasis. Elephantiasis. Another name of elephantiasis is filariasis, right? So this is caused by a nematode. Caused by nematode. And the name of nematode we have is a Wucheria bancrofti. What is the name? You don't need to remember the name. Bancrofti. Right? Elephantiasis or filariasis. So the second example in this case, you can take it as a tuberculosis. Tuberculosis. Now, tuberculosis, another name, the common name that we know, that is a TB. So how did it spread? It spread by bacteria. What is the name of that bacteria? Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So in this we have an example of a lung TB. So these are the two examples, the chronic diseases. Here the symptoms appear, they last for a longer time. In this you can take also an example of a heart disease. Heart disease. Another name of the heart disease, you can take it as a cardiac diseases. Cardiac diseases, right? So this was the first question of another category, that is a question number 7, right? Differentiate you have to write. Now if such type of questions come, now what you have to do? Write the differentiate in a column only. Do not write stories. I am again and again telling you, don't do such type of mistake. Make 2 columns, and with the help of the separate examples, you have to attempt this. Now let's move on to the next question, that is a question number 8. So read this question properly. What are the various ways to prevent the diseases? Another very good question. What are the different ways to prevent diseases? In the session we have discussed regarding the ways to prevent the disease in detail. So hope you remember that session. If you remember, that is well and good. If you don't remember, that is a very bad part of yours, because I have already discussed many times that you have to revise what you have already studied. Rather than watching these sessions of the question, this will be a total wastage of time, and I am telling you. In the session we have discussed all these things in detail, so better watch those sessions, then only go for all these kind of questions in which I used to tell you how to attempt such type of question. I am not saying that these questions can be asked. I know these questions are important, so I have taken the questions sometime other than your NCERT to give you a more practice. NCERT questions you all are acquainted when you can use or revise them from your books. But these are the questions which are important, which was asked in the previous year examination and which can be asked in the future examination. So you have to be prepared for that. Now question says, what are the various ways to prevent diseases? So ways to prevent diseases. There are 2 ways by which the disease can be prevented. The first way is called as a general way of prevention of disease. General way. And the second you have is a specific way. Right. To talk about the general way, we all know that we should use clean water for drinking. In our nearby area, there should be a proper sanitation facilities, because we know that whenever there is a contamination of a water with the feces of those person who is already suffering from any disease which is caused by the virus or the bacterium, the chances that fresh water can also become affected, and if we drink that water, another chances are there that we may get such type of diseases. So the first general way is use clean or uncontaminated water. Contaminated water and proper sanitation facilities should be there near to you. So the second is that we should use only properly cooked food, or you can say hygienic food. So these are the certain general ways. Other than that, you should not allow the collection of water near to your places. The chances that that water can act, that stagnant water can act as a breeding ground for your many of the species of the mosquito, because we know that mosquito, they act as a vector. They can carry diseases, they can carry those pathogens, and if they'll bite us, those pathogens can enter into our body and they can cause disease as well. Other than that, for removal of these mosquito, we should use wire gauzes, etc. We should use wire mesh, I have told you. We should use nets, etc. for the sleeping, and the insect repellent should be sprayed. So these are the prevention that one should take for the prevention of the diseases. So the second topic says that we have to specify a specific way. Now this specific way over here, that means immunization. Immunization, as it is written in the second part also, that what is immunization? Immunization, in this, the body has an internal capacity to fight against the diseases. So whenever any pathogen they enter into our body, they are considered as antigens. So for that, our body start producing the certain cells which is called as antibodies. So can I ask you one more question? Antibodies are secreted by which type of cells? I mean to say, which type of lymphocyte, you have to tell me. Okay, I'll give you answer in this session only. So that is a B lymphocyte, they produces antibodies. So antibodies are secreted against these antigen who enter into our body, due to which they kill those antigen in a very specific way, right? For each and every type of the antigen, the specific type of the antibodies, they are secreted. Here the immunization means that we have to improve our immune system, improve our immune responses. And how the immunization can be done? Immunization can be done by the involvement of certain vaccines. Today we have vaccines available for so many diseases, like hepatitis, the vaccines are available, like smallpox vaccines are available, like diphtheria vaccine, the rabies vaccines, they are available. What is the function? Why we are taking that vaccine? Because what we want, that our immune system, they should be stronger. So immunization means improvement in immune system to fight against pathogen. Improvement in immune system to fight against pathogen. To fight against pathogen, right? And how immunization is done? Done by vaccination. By vaccination, by which the improvement in the immune system occur, and whenever the pathogen, the real pathogen other than the pseudo pathogen, if the same pathogen they come for the second time, the response time is comparatively faster and they can be eradicated in a better way. For the immunization process also, we have this passive immunity also. In case of the passive immunity, our immune system is not active. So in this case, one of the example is that we take these antibodies from the outside. Suppose some snake is there and I'm bitten by one snake. In that condition, some antibodies, they are readily available in the market. They can be incorporated into my body. They'll consider that whatever these pathogen who has entered, that means to say the bite or the venom that has entered, that will be eradicated because of these antibodies which has introduced into my body. So this is the immunization, question number 8. Now let's move on to the next question, question number 9. So again this question, that is a question number 9, is of 5 marks. So you have to explain these things in detail. See why I have included these questions, because they are very important, and as well as the questions which I have included are from those topics which students always feel that they are all of confusion. So what is immunization? That is clear to you. That is the improvement in the immune system, and how it can be done by the process of vaccination and by the process of artificial passive immunity. Hope you remember that session. The session I have discussed regarding this immunity, the types of immunity. In the passive immunity, we supply these antibodies from the outside. So overall immune system, they can be strong, like they will be stronger. So define immunity and the vaccination. Immunity is a capability of body. So what do you mean by immunity? Immunity. What is immunity? It is a capability of body to fight against pathogen. Here I mean to say any of the foreign molecules which can act as an antigen. So that is called as a immunity. Our body immune system, that has to be strong. So the next word which is written over here, that is a vaccination. So what is a vaccination? Vaccination is the process of giving a vaccine in which the overall immune system of the body that can be increased, or you can say the overall immune response that can be generated. See what happens in the case. In this case, for example, let's take an example of the polio vaccine. In case of the polio vaccine, the attenuated microorganism which can cause the polio or the polio viruses, which are attenuated or the heat killed, they are taken into the body at a very regular interval, which we call it as a booster doses, and which help in regulating our immune response. So in the first case, whenever these attenuated pathogens, they are allowed to enter into our body, in that respect the immune response is generated. So hope you remember the immune responses. So in this case, the T cells and the B cells, they produces memory cells, and these memory cells, they are important at the time of actual infection. Antibodies will be formed, antibodies will try to kill those antigens, the pseudo antigens you can say. But once the infection will occur, once the same virus whose pseudo antigen I have taken earlier, if the same will come again, the chances that particular virus will be killed in a shorter duration of time, because the now body has recognized that antigen. Now it's time to kill it. So they will kill it in a shorter duration of time, so that we can say that the secondary response is comparatively faster as compared to a primary response. For example, let's take an example. Suppose you don't know how to open a gate, right? So you'll go near to that gate, you try to open it with the different keys, right? You have so many keys, the 10 to 15 keys you have. You try to open with key number 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5, right? And at that time you realize that key number 8 is a correct. Next time when you will try to open that key, you will directly took the 8 number key and you will try to open that door, and the door will be opened. So in this case also, the response time is faster for those keys which is coming for those problem which is coming for the second time, right? So that is why this vaccination is done. Now define the vaccines. Define the vaccine are what? These are the attenuated microorganisms. So these are heat killed or attenuated microorganism. So here these microorganism means to say the pathogens are taken. So these pathogens, they try to kill those they try to kill those antigens. So what type of disease can be prevented through vaccination? There are so many diseases. Let's talk about some examples, such as your smallpox, such as your rabies. What is another name of rabies? Another name of rabies is hydrophobia. Those dogs and cats who suffer from the rabies, they do not drink water. These are the external symptoms. They do not drink water and they show the excess of salivation. So you should be like away from all these kinds of rodents. So the smallpox, rabies, not rodents, sorry, with these such type of animals like cats and a dog. Next, you can take an example of diphtheria. You can take another example, that is a hepatitis. Today, vaccines are available for this are the smallpox, rabies, diphtheria, hepatitis, and the tetanus. Right? This was the question number 9. This was the last part. Let's move on to the next question. That is a question number 10. So, try to understand this question. Very important. This question seems a very big question, but it is very easy as well. Once you have understood regarding the concept, you can attempt this question in a very easy way. So question number 10, again it's of 5 marks. So question seems big, I'm sure the answer will be this small. So under which of the following condition is a person most likely to fall sick? First is when she is recovering from malaria. When she is recovering from malaria, at that time she will not feel sick. In fact, she will feel down because the immune system is weaker now, because they has lost so many of the water. There was a loss of appetite at that time. So in this case, she will not fall sick. B part says when she was recovered from malaria is taking care of someone suffering from chickenpox. Yes, in this case, she may most likely to fall sick. Why? The reason is that because the patient was suffering from the disease which is known as a malaria, right? So, as it was, she was suffering from malaria, at that time her immune system was weaker. There was a loss of appetite, loss of the body fluid. So, she can fall at that time. So, if she will be suffering from malaria, if she was suffering from malaria, if she is recovering from malaria, in that condition immune system is weaker, the chances that if she is taking care of the person who is suffering from chickenpox, the chances that she can also develop chickenpox. So, she should be away from this particular person. Now, the C part indicate when she is on a 4-day fast after recovering from malaria and taking care of someone who is suffering from the chickenpox, right? Who is a 4-day fast after recovering from malaria. Yes. So, in this is a separate line, you should not include this. So, this was the point which came from the first part. Now, in this case also when she is a 4-day fast after recovering from malaria, see, she is on a fast, she does not have enough amount of the body fluid, no enough amount of the minerals they are present in her body, the chances that she may fall at this time, right. So, because she is on fast, so at that time also she can fall sick. So, for the question number 10, you have to explain these points as well. She was suffering from malaria. So, in malaria what happens is the body's RBC they decreases because malaria is spread by Plasmodium. Plasmodium, how it spreads? Because of the bite of the female Anopheles. So, female Anopheles once they bite, they releases the sporozoite into the blood which circulate in the blood for half an hour, and later on they enter into hepatocytes, which is also called as a liver cell. After they enter into the RBC, they causes a bursting of the RBCs, due to which we feel fever, right? And there was a continuous hot phases, hot phase, cold phase and the shivering phase, all these phases happens. And overall immune system is weakened now. If she will be on the fast, the chances that she may fall sick. So, this is what you have to explain in this question. So, this is how we have explained, this is how we have to attempt the different 10 questions we have discussed in the today's session. So, hope you liked the today's session, and now what you have to do, whatever the questions mentioned in the NCERT, do learn them, do revise them. If you face any of the problem, do ask us, please ask us questions. And go to our website, the doubt clearing option will be there. Click there, over there just write down or the copy paste your question, whatever the doubts you have, and just send it to us. We will try to solve it within a short duration of time. And also in the e-books, all these chapters they are given and they are in a bit of detail. If you want to study in detail, you can refer to those e-books. They are very important, only important points in a bit detailed way. those which I have not included in the session, sometimes I include those things as well, so that you can have a better understanding for those disease, for those topics. In fact, whatever the diagrams which I try to make on the board, those diagrams are also mentioned in your ebook, so you can refer your ebooks as well. And also, how can we forget about your NCERT? A very good book, very standard book. You should refer your NCERT, read every point, every line. This is not only important for your CBSE exam, also important for the various entrance examination when biology is a subject. Even today I have my NCERT with me. I have my 9th and 10th class NCERT. They are very important. In fact, they give you a complete depth of each and every topic. So we'll meet in next session when we'll discuss a new chapter, but you don't have to watch the next session unless you complete this chapter and all the question practice as well. So we'll meet in the next one. Till then, take care of yourself, and thank you so much, students, for watching this.